Yes, the horse is actually the first star of cinema. And this came about in 1878 when a gentleman named Leland Stanford, who had been the governor of the state of California, he owned trotting horses, racing trotting horses. And he had a bet with a friend that at a certain time when the horse is racing, all 4 feet are completely off the ground, he's airborne. So in order to prove this, he hired a photographer named Edward Muybridge, a British photographer, who devised a way of putting still cameras at close distances around the racetrack and having them fire one after the other in split seconds. And the resulting photographs, when put together, especially if like flipped in a book, showed the horse moving, but showed that the horse did in fact at one time become completely airborne. So this was the beginning of a series of what they called the motion studies, the Edward Muybridge motion studies. And he photographed many more of Stanford's horses, but the very first horse was a trotting horse with the name of Abe Edgington. So Abe Edgington is actually the very first movie star. In some cases, yes, to save the horse from stress or injury, such as in racing movies, as in Seabiscuit, and war movies like War Horse, where the horse has to do a lot of stressful and dangerous things. Horse Whisperer is another great example where animatronics were used to great advantage, where there's a horrifying looking scene where a horse is hit by a truck, and it's not a real horse at all, it's an animatronic horse. But when the animatronic or robot horse is cut with a real horse, the footage, it's seamless. You can't tell the difference, and the audience really thinks that the horse has been killed or hurt something. But it's a wonderful advance in the humane protection of horses in cinema. But there's nothing going to replace the beauty of a real horse, or the bond between a human and a horse, and so real horses definitely are still working in film. Well, first of all, Seabiscuit was, like many films that has a horse as the lead character, it often requires multiple horses to portray the lead character. And in Seabiscuit, this was the perfect example, because the horse has to do many different behaviors, working with actors, doing different things. Sometimes he's mischievous, stealing someone's hat. Sometimes he's refusing to stand up in his bed. He doesn't want to get up because he's lazy. So it took different horses that were trained to do these different behaviors to portray the horse. And of course, they all have to be made up to look the same. So they get makeup and hair and makeup just like any other actor. And in Seabiscuit, the animatronic horse was mainly used for the star to ride, because they couldn't jeopardize the star by putting him in a real race. So he had professional jockeys doubling him, Tobey Maguire, the star, but he rode an animatronic horse on a stage so that he would simulate the motion of the running, and you'd have the mane and the neck of the horse, but it was all robotic so that he was not in any danger. I have several, so it's very difficult to say. The first, and I think my most favorite, is a horse called Highland Dale, who made his film debut at age 2 in Black Beauty in the 1940s, and he had a very long career. He was starring with Elizabeth Taylor in Giant, and then he went on to become a television star in the long-running television series Fury. And he was just a gorgeous black stallion, an American saddlebred stallion. And he had learned many, many tricks, but he was just fantastic. He also was in a wonderful children's film called Gypsy Colt, where he does a lot of great tricks and plays opposite a little girl. So he was just a great, big, beautiful black stallion, but he was very gentle and very, very talented.